Hello once again, everyone. It's Eric here with Weather for Weather Geeks, the midweek edition. It's Wednesday, December what is today? The 5th. Hard to believe we are less than 3 weeks away from Christmas. The weather a little bit Christmassy today. It'll be that way again tomorrow. We have some snow to talk about before we go into a drier period for the weekend and into next week. Let's look at today's numbers. It was another day with very little temperature variation. We have days like this fairly frequently at this time of the year where you only have a 4 or 5 degree difference between the lowest temperature and the highest temperature of the day. Only a 4-degree variance today. Back in 2001, it was 71, and then back in 1991, it was 9. Those are our records today. We picked up 0.6 inches worth of snow at the Youngstown Warren Airport today, bringing us to 1.6 for the month of December. I showed this graphic last night in case you missed Weather Geeks last night. I looked at all our December snow records dating back to 1997, and as you would expect, there are some boom years and some bust years. We've had quite a variance over the last 5 or 6 years. We've had 4 pretty snowy Decembers, and sandwiched in between 2 almost completely snow-free Decembers in 2014 and in 2015. But our average December snowfall is about 14 inches. We've done better than that over the last 2 years. Nothing like we had back in 2010, of course, but we have been above average 4 of the last 6 Decembers. I am not real optimistic in the snow department that we'll see anything like this year in December. Not looking at much snow at all, I think, over the next week or so, maybe at the tail end of next week, but not real optimistic that we get into a snowy pattern anytime over the next 2 weeks. All right, we've had snow showers and flurries coming and going today. Occasionally, it kind of looks like a snow globe got shook up over your location. In the afternoon, these were pretty non-impactful, a little bit impactful this morning. We had a few slick areas this morning, especially on elevated surfaces and on bridges and overpasses, but these are pretty much the last of the flurries. I wanted to zoom all the way out, show you the entire lower 48 states and southern Canada this evening. The weather's pretty quiet with the big exception of right along the west coast. This is the storm that's going to make the cross-country trek in classic El Nino fashion. And what I mean by that is oftentimes in an El Nino winter you have an active southern branch of the jet stream that brings frequent storms to California, parts of New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, and then they come towards the east, and this will be one of those storms. It's going to cause some big problems for a lot of people. Not here, though. We're going to miss this one. Already some winter storm watches have been hoisted from the panhandle of Texas up into parts of Oklahoma as well, and there'll be lots and lots of winter storm warnings and watches and advisories that extend up into parts of the southern Appalachians and the Mid-Atlantic region by the time the weekend rolls around. Back here at home, flurries go away, and then we're left with clouds for tonight and tomorrow morning. As I've been talking about this week, this is a midday and afternoon snow that's coming our way tomorrow. It begins on average between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m., and then it'll snow lightly for a lot of the afternoon tomorrow before tapering off to snow showers as we head into tomorrow evening. So here's what I've done with the hourly snow chances tomorrow, peaking at 100% between 2 and 5. During the afternoon tomorrow, main roads should be generally okay as long as they're treated, of course, but things can be a little bit slick in other places. As far as amounts go, before 7 p.m. tomorrow evening, we might see up to an inch or so, and maybe another dusting to a half an inch in some spots with leftover flurries and snow showers tomorrow night. So all told, between tomorrow and tomorrow night, an inch to inch and a half at most, at very most 2 inches. Not real optimistic that anyone sees much more than an inch and a half to 2 inches out of this. So again, main roads, afternoon tomorrow, okay. After sunset, it'll be a little easier for some of those main roads to become a little bit slick, especially on the elevated surfaces, on the bridges, on the overpasses, on your neighborhood roads. If they're left untreated especially, it can get slick at times tomorrow afternoon and evening. Watch for the reduction in visibility, which can be especially problematic, as you know, once it gets dark out, and it gets dark out pretty early at this time of the year. Sunset tomorrow evening will be at 4:54. We're now in the 5-day period between today and the 10th, in which we have our earliest sunsets of the year. All right, nothing more than leftover flurries for the vast majority of tomorrow night into early Friday. By Friday afternoon, we will see the clouds try to thin some, and that'll pave the way to a brighter weekend on the way. All right, this is just one run of one model, but I wanted to show you what's on the table for our neighbors to the south with this major winter storm. There's going to be some places in the mountainous areas of North Carolina, up into southwest Virginia, parts of West Virginia. It could get a couple of feet worth of snow out of this, and then closer to population centers, Charlotte, this is a dicey forecast for those areas. From Charlotte to Raleigh, could be a real mixed bag through there, and some of this might extend farther up closer to the nation's capital. by very early on next week. But this is a storm that's going to stay to our south thanks to strong high pressure up across the Great Lakes. It's going to suppress everything down to the south. Not much has changed in the long-range thinking. Now, this isn't going to be a heat wave. This, I doubt we see many days at all that are as warm as we had a couple of days ago on Sunday when it was 63. I don't think that's in store for the medium range, but a consistently not cold pattern and mild-ish pattern seems pretty likely. Second half of next week into the following weekend, and perhaps continuing into the following week. I think we'll have a lot of temperatures in the 40s. Maybe occasionally we'll try to break 50, but a lot of 40s, I think, which is above average for the middle of December. So this is not going to be a real crazy warm pattern. I don't think that's likely, but a mild pattern by December standards, yes. And I do think that it is a not a particularly active pattern for snow, although, again, keep an eye on very end of next week and next weekend. We might have a rainy event followed by, on the back end of the storm, a windy, snow showery kind of a weekend next weekend. I'll have more thoughts on that in future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks for watching the Wednesday evening edition, and I'll see you back here on Thursday.